This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL.
That was not a great start.
That was
like so quiet and calm.
And we were just talking about crystals. I wonder if there was like an energy.
Jeff does not believe in that, so don't even bring it
No, that's
up.
not true. I said you could give energy to anything. You know what I mean? But so. Well, welcome to DBL. Yeah. So, but I was saying, like, if you have a cross or you wear a chain, you bring energy to it, right?
Point.
Like my grandmother gave me that. But if you have a rock, there's no resale value. And then Lindsay goes, I only paid $250 for this one. I go, $250? And she goes, no, $2.50. Okay.
He's okay with that.
We're okay with that.
Line under $5.
I love it. All right, guys, it's everywhere you look, and we're going to switch gears here. Shocking images and videos of Hurricane Ian after it devastated Florida yesterday. It is the 5th most powerful storm to ever hit Florida, ever. All over Southwest Florida, residents and officials are getting their first look at the destruction from the storm in cities like Tampa, Fort Myers, and Naples. So check out this time-lapse video, okay, from a webcam in Fort Myers, where you see the storm surge, rushing in, completely flooding streets, flooding parking lots. The surge completely wiped away homes and buildings, like this one in Naples. That's a home that just floated away. The storm also swept away this yellow McLaren. Ooh,
I saw that. I was so sad for that person.
That's over $1 million.
I mean, I'm sure they have insurance, but come on now.
Oh my God, that's not good. Tampa police are also warning residents to stay off the streets and to stay indoors in case something like this happens, a street light crashing down. Wow, I've never seen one that close up. And check out what appears to be a shark. Yeah. Swimming in the street of the Fort Myers neighborhood that we're seeing here. Just a full-on shark. Another good reason for everyone to stay inside. I feel bad for the shark. He's like, where am I? All over Florida, residents are finding out the extent of their damage to their homes and livelihoods. Some who had evacuated are only now finding out if they even have homes to return to. And our hearts go out to all of you. Thousands more are still waiting to be rescued. Can you just, have any of you been in a situation like this, and can you imagine what it would be like?
I haven't. You know, I've lived in California and then in the Midwest, so I know this happens on the East Coast a lot. So I don't know how familiar they are with this devastation, if that makes any sense, right? So like my girlfriend grew up or my wife grew up in North Carolina, and I live in Chicago. So when it snows, Chicago's used to it, right? They kind of know how to prepare for it. I don't know if you prepare for something like this, right? That happens yearly. So I'm not sure on how to grasp it. I don't know why people aren't leaving, but maybe they're like, hey, we have it every year and we're just gonna wait it out.
Well, that's kind of like the same thing with Texas. They get hurricanes a lot.
Right.
So my partner Colin's from Texas, and so they just plan to go to Dallas. Luckily they have family there. They drive there whenever there's a hurricane and just leave it at that. But some people, you know, don't think it's gonna be a big deal. Let's say this happens every summer and some are like, oh, my grass got a little wet.
Right.
You know, you don't leave every single time. They also don't have basements, so they don't think their basements are gonna get flooded. They just like are trying to just wait it out. And so it depends, and some people probably underestimate the storm because as a local news reporter, New York didn't get a lot of big storms, but whenever we did, there were some that had like no effect. And so I would be out in the field and like people in their homes would be like, see, I told you it wasn't gonna be a big deal when we went to their doors and got some sound bites. So you can't ever grasp, and this storm kind of caught Florida off guard. It took a last minute turn and hit Florida. So it's not like they were preparing for this for weeks and saw it a mile away and were like, oh, this is coming. Like they kind of were like, oh, this is really coming. So you can make last minute accommodations.
Yeah, I was watching football last Sunday and they were playing in Tampa and it was beautiful weather and they're like, I don't think the game's going to be here next week because of this storm. So they for sure knew it was coming.
But I mean, like,
but
a tropical storm is different than a Category 5 hurricane on top of Florida.
Absolutely.
It stayed in Category 1 and just sat on top of Florida. Usually, well, Colin works in insurance, which is why I know so much about this. Usually, it turns into a tropical storm much quicker than this did. This stayed as a Category 1 hurricane on top of Florida for a really long time, and that's why we're seeing so much disaster.
Just drenched it. So, guys, the storm was 7 miles per hour shy of being considered Category 5. I think, if my Michael Dean, maybe you could check if that's the strongest of all the categories, which is insane. 2.5 million people are without power. 2.5 million people. Roads and bridges are impassable. The death toll is projected to be in the hundreds. Right now, we have 5 confirmed deaths as of this taping. The Southeast is now preparing for Ian. It's going to maybe come through South Carolina, North Carolina, like you said, Georgia, Virginia. They have all now preemptively declared state of emergency. So this is wreaking havoc, and our prayers go out. Please check on everybody you can. Really tough out there. I do want to get your opinions on this because a Florida CEO, speaking of, for a postcard company, here she is. She's getting called out. She urged her staff to work through the storm because she thought it was going to be a, quote, nothing burger, and was being overhyped by the media. She even told them to bring their kids, their pets. She said she didn't want the end of the quarter for her postcard company to be ruined because people left work. After backlash, the CEO did end up closing the office on Wednesday and converted it into a shelter. But the question is, what do you do if your boss is telling you to work through something like this? And I must say, my first thought was, this is why labor unions are doing so well, because people are organizing because of this. And that's why quiet quitting is also happening, because people feel like they're objects and they're undervalued and underappreciated as human beings. That's what I felt from that. What did you think?
Well, there's something, to be said about being a team player, right? When your boss is like, hey, you got to stick around, I'd feel obligated, like, all right, well, I guess I got to stick around. But there's also the last 2 years that we went through where you feel much more comfortable saying, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this, and the last 2 years, I don't think, you want me to challenge you? I'm not coming in tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's like, that has opened up that conversation. You don't have to say it like that. You could have a real conversation, say, hey, listen, I have 2 kids. This storm is very serious. I know some people who work in the industry. I don't feel comfortable staying here. I hope, I could continue next week when this is all gone, but I feel more comfortable leaving. You could have that conversation, I feel like, now and still be a team player. As before, I don't know if I'd be able to have that conversation.
Now, people came into work, apparently, to the CEO saying, I only came in because I feared retaliation if I didn't.
Right.
So maybe those people don't feel comfortable doing that. What do you do?
And if she's going to propose something like that, like you need to come to work, then propose also solutions. So if my house does get destroyed, are you providing housing?
Yeah.
Are you providing food for my family? Are you providing transportation to get out of town for a couple weeks, or paying for the hotel until FEMA kicks in? And so all these things are bigger conversations that why would you as a CEO want to get wrapped into that type of altercation with your staff because you caused them to stay here instead of letting them make a decision, because people also need their jobs.
Yeah.
You know what
people
I would
also
do?
Need to
I would write a postcard saying, I'm not coming in today.
I quit on a postcard. I really like that. All right, there's also a ton of video showing one of the silver linings of horrible storms like this, people helping people. We like showing that. Naples Fire Department posted this video showing them rescuing folks from a car that got stuck in some floodwaters. Check out all of these Orange County firemen rescue nursing home residents in Orlando. And this is Orlando, which we thought earlier was okay. Getting them out as floodwaters were rising this morning. The Cajun Navy, which is a group of volunteers who perform rescues, is already at work in Florida. They've said they've already performed between 20 to 30 rescues. This is the only good part of this, isn't that right?
I think people need to really wrap their arms around Florida and understand that even as the news forgets about some of these stories, these people are living this for at least like the next 2 years of rebuilding.
Thank you.
And so there's so many storms that have passed already that we don't talk about anymore, and people are still trying to figure out what they're going to do as far as rebuilding their home and making it how it used to be and getting back to normal. So we have to remember that we're talking about people's lives.
And quickly, it's funny how a community comes together in real tragedy, not over a post or what somebody said 50 years ago. When real tragedy happens, people rally around that and make the situation better.
Well said, well said. Coming up on DBL, we talk with Barbara Corcoran. It was a really great talk from Shark Tank. Her advice on hustling to get yourself ahead in life. And we are remembering rapper Coolio today after he suddenly passed away, how his songs have left a lasting impact on the music industry. Stay tuned for that.
Closed captioning provided by
Hey, just stopping by to say we're taking over. We're made of this. We're taking over. You know what time it is. We're taking over.
What's up, you guys? The Cajun Navy is so amazing. They come in boats and they're volunteers and they just simply rescue people. And those people, unbelievable. Someone wrote in, I think Jeff should come into work in one of those dad sweaters or like a really smoking silk t-shirt. Why do men still wear suits? Very uncomfortable. Because we have to still wear this as women. That's why. And I'm wearing 3 girdles.
All right, I'm airdropping. Did it go through?
Bosses are managing in a style that they think is our sellers' market.
went through?
First of all, it's a postcard company. Slow your roll.
But I also think people need to understand.
Sorry.
Not even that postcard companies are important, right?
Right, but it was an emergency.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, people need to understand. Like, you could love your job. I could live and breathe my job. I don't care if I own the joint. My life is more important.
Thank you. Say it louder.
My
for
family's
people
life
in
is
the
more
back.
important. Like, so I don't. No matter what the thing is, it could be the best job in the world.
You will.
My life is always takes precedence.
You know what? I kind of. Can I be honest with you right now? I know you're like, that's easily said. I'm like obsessed with work and how much like I love work, and I liked hearing that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but your life still. Like, I just had this conversation with a friend yesterday. Like, if I know you're running and trying to get everything done. If you're not healthy, what are you doing?
I know.
So let's say you have a kid, whatever else, you're not going to be present because you're going to be taking care of yourself in the hospital.
I know.
Because you run yourself into the ground ragged.
I know.
Literally causes stress. Stress is the #1 cause of a lot of issues in your body. Like, just gotta take care of yourself, or you can't work.
So I did my 4th yoga class.
Of the week?
No.
Of
my new
I was about to say that's a lot of yoga in 1 week.
I did 4 yoga, and they did headstands in this one.
Did you do one? Oh, I tried.
Didn't go so
Excuse
well.
me, guys. I'm trying to lower my seat. You can record this because I'm an idiot.
We definitely want that.
Am I way too high?
No, I think you look good.
No, I feel like I'm like floating away.
Vanilla Ice spoke out. He performed in that.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. 'Cause I've been
Wow, welcome back. That is Coolio's hit song Gangsta's Paradise from the movie Dangerous Minds. And sadly, really surprisingly, out of nowhere, the rapper who was born artist Leon Ivy Jr. died yesterday at the age of 59. Just some context here. He was found on the floor of a friend's bathroom. It is still unclear how he died. According to TMZ, no drugs or any signs of foul play were discovered at the home. If you don't remember Gangsta's Paradise, it won him a Grammy back in 1996, and over the summer it reached reached 1 billion views. 1 billion views on YouTube, and has been downloaded 1 billion times on Spotify. Dangerous Minds stars Michelle Pfeiffer credits Coolio's song for the movie's success, writing, quote, "I remember him being nothing but gracious. 30 years later, I still get chills when I hear the song." And fellow rapper Snoop Dogg shared a pic of the two, writing, "R.I.P. Coolio." Just so you guys know, we think or believe it might be cardiac arrest. Again, we can't confirm that, but I just wanted to put that out there in case people thought there was something nefarious going on. What did you think when you guys heard the news? What did you think?
I mean, I feel like we always wait until someone dies to like celebrate them and remember what an impact they had. And I know everyone's coming out now, but it's easy to forget about people. And I think that he's one of those people that was gracious to everybody, what Michelle Pfeiffer said in her post, because I had the opportunity to meet him when I lived in Phoenix.
Really?
And it was my birthday, and I remember I told him, because I was like freaking out, even though everybody else was like, you know, putting somebody who's a legend as like old news. So when we saw him out, it was like, okay, who cares? But I was like, I care. And he literally hung out with us for the rest of the night, like whatever we were doing. Because in Scottsdale, it's kind of like you hop around outdoors and everybody hangs out in the same area. And he was just super cool and just kicked it with us like he was you and I.
Really?
Or you and I. And it was the craziest thing for like 4 hours. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I think we have a picture of it. I was like freaking out. My sister's in one of the pictures. Like, we just went from like bar to bar with Coolio. And it was insane. And like, it was like, that looks like my family member. It wasn't even like a, can you take this selfie? It was really like just such a dope experience.
wow.
And so, you know, that's my one experience with him. And I'm sure that if he impacted little old me in that way, that he was really a cool person.
I love hearing
very
stories
down to
like
earth,
that. That's like the best compliment you could give. But it's, sometimes, you know, when it pops up on your phone, you see somebody, you know, you're like, oh, wow, that's sad. But I was at my son's practice, I'm like, Coolio died? I'm like, oh my gosh. In like 1996, that's when I graduated high school, to date myself. And but it's like, that was the theme song of like my, you know, of high school. So it was like, it was a sad one.
And 59 is so young. So
yeah.
really
Way too young. Way too young. Our thoughts and prayers are going out to everyone. Coolio, good to hear you're down to earth. Rest in peace. We'll be right back.
look at the situation they got me facing. I can't live a normal life. I was raised by the state. So
Are you ready for...
The National Hurricane Center said Hurricane Ian brought life-threatening storm surge when it came ashore in Florida, leading to flooding in many parts of the state. While many people in the storm's path have traditional homeowners or renters insurance, some policies may not help rebuild after a flood. So let's verify. Do homeowners and renters insurance policies typically cover flood damage from hurricanes? Our sources are the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Insurance Information Institute, Federal Emergency Management Agency, and insurance companies Allstate and Amica. Homeowners insurance is a way to repair or rebuild your home after something bad happens. Homeowners insurance, along with renters, also helps cover the cost to replace your belongings. Typically, when you buy a policy, the insurance companies will give you a detailed list of events that they cover, or tell you you're covered for all events except those they specifically exclude. All of our sources say standard homeowners and renters policies typically exclude coverage for flooding. Allstate says this includes flooding brought on by or as a result of a hurricane. So, no, homeowners and renters insurance policies do not typically cover flood damage from hurricanes. Instead, you can purchase separate flood insurance from a private company or a policy that's backed by FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program. These policies usually require you to purchase them at least 30 days before they take effect. If you didn't buy coverage ahead of time, FEMA also offers some assistance to people who live in areas that receive a presidential disaster declaration. However, Florida's emergency management warns the average payout to Florida residents from FEMA is usually only about $5,000, which may not be enough for repairs. This compares to claims filed by people with separate flood insurance who receive an average of $29,000. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. Her success started as a waitress in New Jersey, and now she's serving as sharp-tongued shark who's invested in more than 80 companies. Businesswoman Barbara Corcoran joined us earlier to tell us about season 14 of Shark Tank and so much more. There's such good advice in here. Take a look. Hi, Barbara. I wanted to ask you specifically, we've talked about this on the show between us, quiet quitting. We've all kind of heard it. It's a trend where employees just sort of do the bare minimum to get by. And I would love to know your take as a business owner and a shark. Is that something that concerns you? Do you understand it? What do you feel?
I understand it fully. Yes, you know, people quiet quit when they're not motivated, when they're feeling overworked and they feel undervalued. And that's the boss's fault. I know a lot more bad bosses than I've met bad employees, let me tell you that. And any good boss knows that you can win people's hearts and their loyalty if you just show them appreciation, have their interest totally at heart, and watch their back. That's really all it takes. And when that happens, you don't have employees asleep at the desk. It just doesn't happen.
Wow.
Nope.
Interesting.
All right, well, I'm going to get in trouble with my producers because I have a personal question I want to ask you really quickly.
You're not going to pitch me now, are you?
I'm going to ask you a question. Hopefully a lot of people in the country, around the country have the same question. If you have a business and you put the kind of pieces around it and you want to launch, but you're not sure, like when, is there a moment where you know, like, I'm ready to go to market with this?
Yeah. My moment was yesterday when you first thought about it. You know, the problem with a lot of people getting launching is they just spend so much time planning for what might go wrong, what they have to do. There's something very different and magical that happens when you just launch and get out there. You find out in the streets what's wrong with your business. You discover your real business plan. And you could actually make the adjustments immediately versus studying it. No, that's too much education, not enough action, and that's never a successful entrepreneur. That doesn't happen, though.
Thank you, and let's get to you. You started working when you were 11, and you had 20 jobs before the age of 23. Why was being a waitress one of your favorite jobs?
Well, because waitressing taught me more than any other job, and I waitressed for so many companies, and I, of course, had very many different positions, but that taught me the most. It taught me how to hustle. Taught me how to get along with anybody who would sit at my counter. It taught me that if I did a really great job, I made a lot more money in the form of tips. It taught me everything I needed to know about selling. When I built my real estate business, it was a sales company, and I walked into it at 23, started it, and I knew everything about sales.
Wow.
Barbara, I'm getting very
so
inspired here. I'm loving your answers.
She's standing. Too.
Yeah, it's just everything about you is boss. I love you. I love the show. First time caller. But season 14 of Shark Tank kicked off, Barbara, with a live studio audience. Now, we don't have a live studio audience with us here, but how did that change the show for you? Because I know it would definitely change our show.
Yeah, let me tell you, it was absolutely bonkers, would be the best word. We lost total control of the set as sharks. We lost it right from the get-go. There were 3 sharks, for example, biting at one boogie grabber business, something that we weren't usually excited about. But the crowds were cheering. They were shouting, take her deal, take her deal, chanting like that. And I took that deal. The entrepreneur took my deal, and I doubly paid for the business. I wish I could do it over again. The excitement caught us all up. We forgot we were there as business people. We just wanted to be part of the gang. We went crazy. Yeah.
You got pressured
crazy.
into buying something.
I know. Okay, this is really fun. Okay, so we had Mark Cuban on the show just a couple of days ago, and he said that you were not as great as a dancer as you thought.
Robert's got no rhythm. Barbara, I'm not even going to talk about, but I can dance.
So what's something you think he's not so good at?
I hear he's not a good lover. And I'd rather be a lover than a dancer, wouldn't you?
Wow, Barbara going in hard.
He deserved that. That guy deserves that for saying that about me.
Oh, yeah? Good for you. Yep. Thank you so much, Barbara. We appreciate you. We can catch Shark Tank Friday nights on ABC. That's so right. And if you have a business question, call 888-BARBARA, and she might answer your question on her Business Unusual podcast. We'll be right back.
That was
Thank
great,
you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Great.
Fabulous.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
As people in Florida braced for the impact of Hurricane Ian on September 27th, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn criticized President Biden for allegedly making comments about getting vaccinated ahead of the storm hitting land. Other people on social media shared similar sentiments, along with this video clip of President Biden advising people in hurricane-prone areas like Florida to get vaccinated.
A vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated and a hurricane or a natural disaster hits.
While the message is from the president, it isn't recent. Here are the sources we used. Verify traced the original video to Biden's August 10th, 2021 briefing with the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the COVID-19 response teams. A transcript of Biden's comments from that briefing provides more context to the clip. The president said, quote, "If you wind up having to evacuate, if you wind up having to stay in a shelter, you don't want to add COVID-19 to the list of dangers that you're going to be confronting," unquote. On September 27th, during an address on Medicare costs and Social Security, Biden discussed Hurricane Ian, but didn't mention COVID-19 vaccinations.
My administration is on alert and in action to help the people of Florida. I've approved Florida's request for emergency assistance immediately upon receiving it from the governor.
There was also no mention of the COVID-19 vaccine in the White House fact sheet on how the administration is preparing to help those affected by Hurricane Ian. So we can verify, no, Biden didn't tell people in the path of Hurricane Ian to get vaccinated. The video is from 2021 and is being shared out of context. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till. President Biden signed an executive order allowing the Federal Reserve to explore the possibility of creating a centralized bank digital currency in the United States. Some people on social media have claimed that that executive order would make paper money worthless. Verify reader Jerry emailed the team to ask if President Biden's executive order would replace paper money with digital currency. So let's verify. Our sources are Executive Order 14067, the Federal Reserve, the Atlantic Council, a nonpartisan U.S. think tank, and Aaron Klein, Senior Fellow in Economic Studies at the Brookings Institute. President Biden's executive order does not have anything to do with paper money. It asks the Federal Reserve to figure out how to create a central bank digital currency. The digital money that you're used to, the ones with credit card purchases or transactions on apps like Venmo or Zelle, well, those are managed by commercial banks, not the federal government. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are also considered digital currencies, but they aren't issued or backed by a central bank. That wouldn't change under this executive order. Economics expert Aaron Klein confirmed to Verify that there is nothing in the executive order that ends or eliminates cash either. In a press release, the Fed said that a central bank digital currency could provide faster payment options between countries and safe digital payment options for households and businesses. The government has not yet decided whether to create a central bank digital currency. It's just asked the Fed to look into what it would take to create one. So we can verify that no, Biden's executive order does not replace paper money with digital currency. Around 100 countries, apart from the US, are already exploring national digital currencies. According to the Atlantic Council, Jamaica and Nigeria have already started offering centralized digital currencies. Both of those countries still have paper money. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
It's Thursday. I know you guys will love these deals as much as I do. They are hot, hot, hot. And if you got a smartphone, get ready. You can scan it right on screen for that QR code and get to shopping. Woohoo! Steph, I got an itch and the only scratch is to shop. What do we got?
Hi, Tori. Hey, DBL Nation. I'm so excited to show you what we've got today. I've got the Martino by Martino Cartier Powerball Hair Dryer. If you've got arthritis, this is going to make drying your hair so much easier because it fits in the palm of your hand. Wow. And this model was only made for a limited run, and we've got the green light to offer it at an exclusively low price that you will not find anywhere else. And it's Morning Save's first time featuring the product on television. Normally, Tori, it's $89, but we've got it for just $24.99, saving everyone 72%.
What a great price for such a helpful product.
Now, Tori, we've got a Diamond Muse 14-carat gold-plated diamond accent bracelet. Wow. So this deal includes one bracelet, which we've got available in 3 styles. Normally these are $100 each, but we've got them for $19.99, saving everyone 80%.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting the elephant one ×5.
Next up, we've got Live Pro AccuLux Shiatsu foot massager with heat. So this deal includes one foot massager that will give you a deep tissue massage to comfort those aching feet. We quickly sold out of this last time. Quantities are limited, and this is the lowest price we've ever featured this massager on television. Normally these are $225, but we've got them for $69.99, saving everyone 69%.
That's like when you're putting your feet up and you realize you've done good savings.
For our last product today, we've got the Homedics Hot and Cold Gel Eye Mask.
Oh, I need this.
So this will give you headache and tension relief for true relaxation. Normally, this is $38, but we've got it for just $14.99. That saves everyone at home 61%.
To have that cold at night to go to bed on.
Exactly.
Beautiful and great, great saving. Head on over, everyone, to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. Or you can even go ahead and scan that QR code you see on screen. It's going to take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Steph, thank you so much. Okay, Kevin says, wow, Barbara caught me off guard with that jab at Mark Cuban. That was, I posted that on my Instagram. I thought that was very quick and funny, huh? They like to jab each other. Huh?
In my mind, that's how I want to be, like, as I start to age, just like very, very sassy.
Saucy and sassy.
Absolutely. You earned that right.
Exactly. Yes. And Asp Raku says, I challenge anybody not to get up and dance to that song. Talking about, of course, Gangsta's Paradise. I'm Bob Your Head, especially if you're in your car. It's impossible not to dance.
Yeah, you got to blast it.
And we miss you, Coolio. Thank you for everything. DBL is new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.